This news with the Phillies that came down today is frankly surprising. Not because I don't think the Phillies should have done it, but the news that came down today was a clear sign that this organization is not going to just stay patient like they have in years past with their players. This was the first clear sign that the Philadelphia Phillies are done, and I mean done, playing around. They won the game last night. And they still said, you know what? We got to make some changes to the lineup. This is a bold message by the organization, telling everyone who will listen that they are dead serious about doing whatever it takes to win this year. You don't make a lineup change like this if you're not looking at your team and saying, you know what, I'm getting great at-bats from Kyle Schwarber. Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, they're coming around a little bit. Nick Castellanos, he got some good hits this week as well. But you're not kicking Alec Boehm down the number 7 if you're not trying to send a message. Now, I still hate part of the lineup because the fact that they have Stott, Marsh, and Schwarber in a row, 8, 9, and 1, I absolutely hate it. I think it's lazy and it's dumb. But the bigger message is less about how I feel about the lineup. It's about, I'm here to tell you what the Phillies are telling you, trying to say without saying. This organization is saying, Alec Boehm, you have not earned the right to stay in the top 4. We said coming into this year that Alec Boehm was a part of the 4 hitters who will always be at the top of the Phillies lineup. Because in some configuration, it was going to be Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Boehm. But Alec Boehm has hit so poorly. He has been such a gross disappointment that the Phillies have been compelled to push him down the lineup. And frankly, I would argue he should be even lower down the lineup because I don't like Stott and Marsh and Schwarber all back to back. So for me, I look at this lineup and I say, I want more. Now, I understand optically the Phillies are not trying to embarrass Alec Boehm. They're not trying to bury his confidence. They're just trying to make the lineup better. I totally get that. But right here, right now, if you asked me what the lineup should be, because right now the lineup, as currently constructed for tonight, is Schwarber, Turner, Harper, of course. But then Castellanos, Kepler, left-handed power hitter to back up Castellanos, Real Muto, Boehm, and then Stott. I would swap Boehm and Stott. Because right now, if you go by the numbers this year, Bryson Stott is a better hitter right now than Alec Boehm. He is hitting 100 points better than Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm at 178, Bryson Stott at 278. Alec Boehm, who has been one of the team's best hitters with runners in scoring position the last 2 years. Alec Boehm has no RBI. I'm sorry, he has 3 RBI. Even Bryson Stott has more RBI than Alec Boehm this year. Even Bryson Stott has a home run. Bryson Stott has only been the more productive player of the 2 young players. And what is unusual about Boehm is he is already up to 10 strikeouts on the year. He is not a guy who usually strikes out a lot. He usually makes more contact. This move is a clear message to everyone that Alec Boehm, you're just not playing good enough. We got to go a different direction. And I think that this goes back to the idea of these Phillies are telling you winning a championship is all that matters. We don't care about your ego. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care about anything. And look, I'm not going to get up here and speak disparagingly of Alec Boehm, because I don't know the guy personally. I don't know what his day-to-day anything is. So I'm going to keep this strictly professional and say, for Alec Boehm to come out in that interview months ago and say, I don't care what anyone says about me. I stay off social media. I'm a tunnel focus. I put in all the work this offseason. I'm here to have a great season, be better than last year. For him to talk all that and put all that into the universe back in March during spring training, and then to come out here and have this poor of a start to a year. I mean, 178. The only guy on this team who gets regular playing time with a worse batting average than him is Brandon Marsh. And even Brandon Marsh has more RBI and more walks than Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm has been walked 1 time this year. Brandon Marsh has been walked 5 times. So even with a bad batting average, Marsh has given you more than your all-star third baseman. And for Alec Boehm to talk all that smoke coming into this season, and now he is basically incapable of being a productive top 4 hitter in your lineup, folks, we got a problem. And again, I feel like I could go 20 different directions with this. I could accuse him of a lot of things, but I'm just going to keep it professional and say this. I think Alec Boehm made an incredible mistake handling the offseason the way he did. Not because I don't want him out there working, not because I don't think that he should be tunnel focused or tunnel vision when it comes to his focus and his development. But you're 28 years old. You are a former number 3 overall pick. You were an all-star third baseman last year in the National League. You can't start the first 10 games of the next season with a 178 batting average and with fewer walks than Brandon Marsh and fewer RBI than Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott. At some point, Alec Boehm needs to get his head out of the sand. Whatever he thinks is helping him is not. And he needs to be part of this team winning. And until then, I would put him in that bottom of the lineup like he is tonight. And I would keep him there. I need 100 points added to that batting average before I let you bat in the top 4 anymore. And I like how the Phillies are saying, we do not have time for Alec Boehm to figure his you-know-what out. They looked at Nick Castellanos and said, Nick, you're batting .308. Castellanos, you got 2 home runs on the year. You'll be the 4 hitter. You'll back up Bryce Harper. And they turned to the new guy, Kepler, and said, you know what, Max? We like you. Are you the best player on our team? No. But you're going out there and giving a good effort. So when we got to shake up the lineup, you're going to benefit from it a little bit. This is a Phillies team that is supposed to have tons and tons of depth. And they have gone out there and basically turned into an offense that has become much more of a question than anything else. Their inconsistencies this year offensively, leaving runners in scoring position, it is frustrating. Do I think they can turn it around? Absolutely, because starting out slowly offensively is not a sign of a bad team. And frankly, the Phillies have had one of their best starts to a season in many, many years. So I'm not going to sit here and throw the whole team under the bus, but I am going to acknowledge what I see going on, which is the Phillies are saying, Alec Boehm, we are not waiting on you anymore. We got to do what we got to do to win. Jeff from Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973, says the Phillies have some issues, but so does every team. I'm confident the franchise is ready to make a run. Jeff, I'm confident too, but I think this move makes me more confident. I think a move like this makes you more confident of how serious the Phillies are at making a postseason run. How serious they are that they are not going to let Alec Boehm and his, whatever his issues are, impact how this team goes about playing from day to day. They are telling Alec Boehm and everybody else, we are here to win. We are not here to make you happy or comfortable. And I got to tell you guys, Alec Boehm is not just hurting the Phillies right now. He is hurting the Phillies' ability to make life better for him in the future. Because if he doesn't play better, no one is going to want him. And if he wants out of Philadelphia for any reason at all, he has got to show the world that the man who was an all-star last season, the guy who was a top pick in the Major League Baseball draft, a player who was considered an A-plus prospect coming out of Wichita State University. A player who had 2 consecutive seasons of 97 RBI. He has to prove that he is still a player with a high ceiling, or his future, not just with the Phillies, but in the rest of baseball, will not be diminished. Josh Hennig live in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Still to come on the show, of course, in about, I want to say about 15, 16 minutes. Wow, it's bad math by you, Josh. in less than 20 minutes from now, okay? You'll have an opportunity to qualify for the Eagles draft party contest. But coming up next, speaking of the NFL draft, will the Eagles be the actual headliner by the time we get out of the NFL draft? We'll talk about it with Andy McNamara, NFL podcaster, coming up next on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday night.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places that I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. Jesus Luzardo getting the start for the Phillies tonight as they wrap up their series at Truist Park against the Atlanta Braves. Looking to take the rubber game, they won Wednesday 4-3. Trey Turner with the home run in the top of the 9th inning, giving the Phillies the lead for good. Spencer Schwellenbach will get the start for Atlanta. The NFL Draft will be in 2 weeks. First round on April 24th. You can hear our coverage on 97.3 ESPN. Eagles picking 32nd as Super Bowl champions. They have 8 picks in this year's draft, including 4 in round number 5. The Sixers hosting the Atlanta Hawks Friday night with 2 games left on the season. They will miss the playoffs for the first time since 2017. Wednesday night they beat Washington 122-103, snapping a 12-game losing skid. The Flyers back on the ice Saturday hosting the New York Islanders. Philadelphia beat the Rangers Wednesday night 8-5, scoring 6 goals in the third period. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Total rainfall over the next 48 hours, about an inch. Pretty soggy, pretty dreary, and still unseasonably cool through the weekend. Expect occasional showers tonight. Low temperature dips to 43, only 49 tomorrow, with periods of rain throughout the day, but that also means we'll see periods of dry. The steadiest and heaviest rain coming in tomorrow night. Rain showers wrap up through midday on Saturday, high 47. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Leonard Skinnard. Live in concert. Friday, May 30th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort. Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. Tickets on sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
So on draft day this year, it would be just like the Eagles general manager, Howie Roseman, to package some of these picks either in this draft or next year's draft as well to move up the board if there were a player that he really wanted. And it would be just like him and that organization to trade some of these future picks for a veteran that a team knows it's not going to re-sign, that it knows it's moving on from.
Adam Schefter on the Adam Schefter podcast talking about the Eagles. The Eagles have 20 picks in the next 2 years. And a lot of people have said there's no way they're drafting 20 players in the next 2 years. Where are they going to put them all? They don't have enough roster or practice squad spots. Have we not talked enough about the Philadelphia Eagles heading in to the 2025 NFL Draft? Let's ask Andy McNamara joining us. He is the host of the Sick Podcast, joins us each week throughout the football season here on 97.3 ESPN. Andy, how you doing today, my friend?
Josh, doing good, buddy. We're getting very, very close to the draft. So each day I'm getting more excited.
So what do you think about Schefter said there? He's looking at the Eagles as, hey, this is who they are. They're going to make moves. They could trade up. They could get a veteran. Could we walk out of the 2025 NFL Draft saying it wasn't Cam Ward, it wasn't Shedeur Sanders, it wasn't your Cleveland Browns, it was the Philadelphia Eagles were the team that was the dark horse to steal the headlines?
Well, I'd say the last two drafts, we could say Howie Roseman has done enough to win and have the most success. So, no, I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. It might not be an immediate impact that we see, but when you give it the time and it plays out, I wouldn't be surprised at all. How can you doubt anything that this front office does? It's been home run after home run. Anything the Eagles do until they show me differently, I'm going to assume is the right move. Trade up, trade down, trade to the side, take a player, don't take a player. I got to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Now, when you say give them the benefit of the doubt, right, we're obviously not saying that everything they do is perfect.
Yes,
But you're not a baseball player, right? You're not making the Hall of Fame hitting on 30% at least. You're more like a really good free throw shooter, right? You're hitting on 75 to 80%. So there's still that margin, right, where it's like, hey, we understand that you're not going to make all of the picks. You're not going to get everything right. But
sure.
Listen, right now, they got a lot of picks in this draft, specifically in the fifth round. They got 4 picks just in the fifth round alone. There's no way this team is just going to sit with the picks that they got. So for you, Andy McNamara, do you think trading those later round picks, or is it that first round pick that you are looking at to say, I see Philadelphia making moves?
Well, for a team like Philly, who is obviously in their winning window, just winning the championship right now, this is a case where you don't need all those picks. All those guys aren't going to play because you're a very good team. If you're a bad team, you need young players. Or if you have contract troubles, it's salary cap issues, you need young, cheap players. Eagles don't need that. So to me, I would see it as they have all those later picks. Well, if they see a player that they love that's there or that's fallen, you can bundle those. You can bundle those up. And it depends. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to give them to? Look at the relationships. They have a great relationship with the Cleveland Browns. Browns need a fifth-round pick. I think that could be a possibility at some point. So that's how I see it. I see them packaging those later picks, moving up to get a quality guy. You don't need volume. You need quality. And if they find someone like, oh, man, position X, that guy fell, we got to go get him. You got the ammo to do it.
Now, what about the veteran player part? Like, is there a veteran player out there that Andy McNamara is thinking about? And the reason I ask is because the internet did the internet thing the past 24 hours. People are interpreting a TJ Watt post that was later deleted. Him giving the peace sign, all right, as he wants out when there's never been a report before about him wanting out. Meanwhile, in the same division, Trey Hendrickson has made it pretty clear that he is not happy in Cincinnati. So
multiple years there.
Are you looking at guys like that and saying maybe those are the type of people the Eagles could pursue, or is there another position that you are curious about?
I think for TJ Watt and Hendrickson, it's all about money. TJ Watt saw what Myles Garrett got paid his extension, and he wants the same or a little bit more. That's it. It's all money. I don't think there's any way they let him get away with it. Now, the Bengals, up until those two huge wide receiver extensions with Chase and Higgins, were notoriously cheap. You got enough money to keep a key piece on your defense when your weakness is defense. That's what blows my mind. Your weakness is defense. Let's spend more on offense. Okay, what do I know? So I don't know if one or the other is going. I would say Hendricks is probably more likely and probably a bit more affordable than a TJ Watt. Here's the thing. Could the Eagles use a Hendrickson? Of course. Any team is not going to need or turn aside a guy like that. But do they need him? And by that, I mean, I know there's some holes in free agency, but Josh, it just seems like the Eagles are able to fill, whether it's in the draft, and sometimes defensive linemen take longer, granted, but you have some of these players now that you drafted a couple years ago or a year ago, going to be more mature, going to get bigger roles, and you expect them to fill in on those rookie contracts. So a Hendrickson might make sense, but really, I question, do you need to make a big splash if you're the Eagles? Maybe deals like that will happen after the draft once we see how it shakes out. Now, if they wanted certain position, certain player didn't get them, then maybe it's like, well, okay, now we have to explore the trade route. But right now, I don't think there's any urgency for Philly to do that. I'd say let Roseman cook, man. Let him do his thing.
Andy, you mentioned about the money part, and I just got to know for you, right? Because, you're someone who covers the AFC North very closely, not just because you covered the Cleveland Browns on the Sick podcast, but, you've been tracking this division for a long time.
Yeah.
For you, when you hear guys like, may not literally say it, right? The TJ Watts, the Trey Hendricksons, because if you believe Chase Daniel on the Scoop City podcast, he does that pod with Diana Rossini each week. He says, because apparently him and Trey Hendrickson are friends, like they're pretty good friends. And he claims that for Hendrickson, there's way more involved here than the money when it comes to the Bengals treatment. So it's like, but let's say it is the money, right? Like what do we do when you have players who are 30, 31 years old, right? They're right in that wheelhouse of like, I'm still a great player, but I've had some injuries. You know what I mean? Like people don't realize that both Hendrickson and TJ Watt are older than Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
TJ Watt has had a plethora of injuries compared to Myles. Yeah. Even Hendrickson, with his mostly healthy career, has had a couple of dings here and there, right? It's only the last 2 years that he's been fully healthy. So what do you expect is going to happen in a division, Andy, that has a history of being grinders and tough guys, and now you have two apex defensive players who are saying, well, the Browns paid their guy.
And here's the thing. You always want to try to pay your guys first, because otherwise you're going to pay what the other guys pay. It never gets cheaper. And that's what's so tricky with these two players at this point in their career. They may still be excellent for this year. Once you get north of 30, and you said the Watts seem to just like, they play so hard, they just get injured. It's like the Boses. They always get injured. They play too hard, they work out too hard, whatever. They go full steam, they get injured. So, okay, what's the contract extension look like? What type of term? You want to sign a 30-year-old to a 5-year deal? There's a very good chance 2.5 of those years ain't going to be great, and you're paying top dollar. How does that look on the salary cap? What does the guaranteed money look like? That's all those questions we don't know the answer to, and what those players are expecting. So that's why with both these guys, nothing's going to get done before the draft, because Pittsburgh and Cincinnati could draft edge rushers that they love. And they're like, well, you know what? This guy's a whole lot cheaper. Maybe if I take this guy, draft another guy, splice in another veteran, they're not TJ Watt, but altogether they're cheaper, and I think we can get by, for example. So that's the tough part with these edge rushers. You get up to that age and you stop being elite, or you're on the cusp of stop being elite. It's going to cost you the money. So I don't blame them for chasing it. They want to get paid. This is their last big contract of their career.
If it is the last big contract of their career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does the team really then want these guys, right? Like, does a team want to give up assets for players that might be entering a phase of their career where you might be getting diminishing? And I'm not saying you shouldn't trade for Hendrickson or Watt if they're available. I'm not being that guy. But what I am saying is, like, there's a point in time where teams got to make a decision. Do I want to give up the assets to get a player, or do I look around and be like, who's in the draft?
Sure. I think the answer could be both. Who's in the draft? Do you get the guy in the draft? Number one. That's the best recipe for success, right? Especially with quarterback, of course. You get him on the rookie deal. But you get all these guys on rookie money. That's the key. Now, if you don't get that guy, or you still need more, Hendrickson and Watt, the only viable answer for a team to go get them is if you feel you can win a Super Bowl. Because then, like Josh, if you feel Hendrickson or Watt is the missing piece to your defense, and you get them for next year and you win the Super Bowl, okay, the guy's bums out the next year, you got your championship. If you think you're ready to win in the next 2 years, that's where you make your move, and you don't care about those other years. You get your title, fine, right? Like, think of Eagles fans here. If they said, you get player X, he's going to be great for this year, you're going to win another Super Bowl, and then you're going to have to eat some coin for a couple years. I would think to a man, you take it, right? You get that elite player at that time. So the only move that they're not going to be going to Jacksonville. You get somebody who is ready to win now, and that's if you're going to make that move, and if the price is right, that's where you go get it. But ultimately, man, I would be shocked if we see any major player trade of consequence, like the names we said before the draft, because you can answer questions in the draft. You can answer your own problems.
Here's another side of it, right? Here's another one for you. Andy McNamara, host of the Sick Podcast at AndyMC81 on the TwitterX platform. For you, we know there have been rumors about Dallas Goedert being traded, right?
Yes,
and remember, we played the audio. You and I talked about it. Nick Sirianni a couple weeks ago. He didn't have the greatest endorsement. He's like, well, he's on the roster now. Like,
his name is Dallas Goedert, that's for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Is this a situation where maybe you find a team that has that expiring contract that Adam Schefter talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they need a tight end like a Dallas Goedert. Is that a situation where maybe on draft night the Eagles are playing around with multiple pieces, right? Swapping players, swapping picks.
Mm-hmm. You can mix and match, of course. And Howie Roseman has proven to be quite creative. So my only issue would be, this is a pretty deep draft when it comes to potential impact tight ends, more so than most years.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean it couldn't happen on day 1 or 2, maybe 3, or again, after the draft. If a team wanted a tight end and they missed on him, Dallas Goedert, to them, maybe his value goes up, right? I really feel this is something where, for a Dallas Goedert, as a perfect example of, these teams got to figure out, what if you miss on your rookie? Is Dallas Goedert on the back nine of his career? Is that the guy you want? Does he make an impact now, is what I'm saying. If you're drafting this rookie and you're a team that's kind of middling, Dallas Goedert doesn't probably make too much sense. But do I want this guy again on a team whose window is open now? I think so. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Andy, speaking of the draft, right? The Eagles are in the final pick of the draft. But we know how this goes, right? The best players are not always picked high. There's always these quarterbacks, right? You know,
always reaching.
You know, how many quarterbacks does Andy McNamara think are getting drafted in the first round?
Boy, I've been going back and forth in my head with this over the last couple of days, because you're hearing it's silly season, Josh, right? Remember last year we were hearing Will Levis was going to be 4th overall pick, and whatever year Malik Willis was an exception, and he fell. I'm hearing Jalen Milroe in the first round now. Josh, my God. Like, I'm telling you, people, listen to me. If your weakness as a quarterback is you can't throw, or you're bad at throwing, or you need to improve throwing, not good. Not a great start. So why the hell is he in the first round? It drives me insane. It makes no sense. If he's fast, draft a running back. He can run, Josh. Josh, hey, that's like 100-meter sprinter. Boy, Josh, he's a great sprinter, not that fast. What? Why do I want him? That's why I don't think Jalen Milroe is going to go in the first round. I feel definitely Cam Ward's going first overall. The real watcher is going to be Shedeur Sanders, because if you listen to Dion, they try to set the narrative of Louis Riddick going, I don't think we don't want him to go in the first 3. BS, pal. You know he ain't going in the top 3. You want him to go as soon as possible. So does Shedeur Sanders, is the camera going to be going back to the house and he's free falling? Does he get it? I don't think he gets out of the first round, but if his name wasn't Sanders, Josh, like we talked about, if his name wasn't Sanders, top of the second round to me, right? Maybe
See,
end of the first.
That's where it's weird, because I have an interesting other side of that take, and that is I don't know if he'd be getting some of the criticism he's getting if he wasn't Deion Sanders' kid. And I think some of the criticism comes with people projecting their issues with Deion onto his son. I feel like this kid is not getting a fair measure either direction. I think some people love him because he's Deion's kid, and some people hate him because he's Deion's kid.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say, too, my answer is going to be I think there's 3 go in the first round. I think it's going to be Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3. Dart's quite a riser. Personally, I think Dart has the higher ceiling over Shedeur Sanders. I do think Cam Ward is the best one. Shedeur Sanders, to me, is good. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. You don't draft good 2nd or 3rd overall. You draft good in the 20s or 30s or in the top of the 2nd round. That's where you draft good. Doesn't mean he can't win for you. Doesn't mean you can't put pieces around him. I think
and guess what? He could win a Super Bowl and it doesn't matter, right?
Yes.
It's like, Jalen Hurts, 2nd round pick, Russell Wilson, 3rd round pick.
It can absolutely happen if you're in the right system. I think there are systems out there and places that would be a good fit for Shedeur Sanders, and that he might be, Josh, he might be the best equipped to be a day 1 starter out of this draft class. The most efficient. Doesn't mean he's going to be the best long term, but a plug and play, he could be the guy. Jackson Dart, a little bit more varied, but I love the intangibles, and I think he can be a star. And I've told you this on this show and my show. Will Howard is my guy. He ain't going in the first round, so I would take him at the top of the 2nd round. I don't want him to get away. Did you hear what John Gruden was saying about him?
I did not. Did Gruden come out with a new Gruden video?
Yes. Gruden was going, and we know Gruden loves everybody, right? Every quarterback's the best in the world. I understand that. But
he loved remember, he used to collect quarterbacks with the Bucs. He used to make fun of him because it was like, oh, there's Gruden bringing another quarterback.
That's right. Well, he was saying Will Howard. He said, I see Josh Allen in you. And I was like, that's what I was saying for a while. I see leader. Now, he said he thinks he's the best quarterback in the draft. Right now, no. Does he have the potential to be? I absolutely believe he does. So you're going to get some value on these guys. There's also weird risers. Tyler Shuck, that's spelled S-H-O-U-G. I don't know how you get that sound out of there. But he's coming up. And this guy was, we talked about Justin Herbert's backup, right? Like, he's 26 years old and has a bunch of injuries. The point is, teams are going to reach for quarterbacks. And where do you reach them? Where do you get them? Where do they fall? So I think it's going to be 3 in the first round. And for Shedeur Sanders, if he goes to New Orleans, if he goes somewhere where you can build a nice little O-line around him, he can be good. I don't think he will be great, future Hall of Famer, but like we said, you don't necessarily need that.
So a couple things with the quarterbacks before I let you go. Number 1, I want to get back to Milroe real quick.
Oh, God.
So and I'm giving you full permission to steal this for your podcast.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Anything against Milroe. I can't stand him. Not against the guy. Seems like a nice guy. Against why people are going crazy about it. Anyway.
But you know what? See, because my problem is guys like him and Quinn Ewers should have stayed in college. I'm convinced of that 100%. Okay? And anybody who tells me they came out this year because Arch Manning's the next year's draft, you can't not go back to school because one guy is in the draft class of next year. It's so dumb.
And Arch might stay. He's getting a ton of money. I'm hearing rumors today, Josh. Arch might stay another year.
Yeah, that's true as well. But here's my thing with Milroe. Do you know who his agent is?
I believe it's the same as Myles Garrett.
It is. It's Nicole Lynn.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams are doing her a favor. I think she's calling in favors because these teams know that she is starting to accumulate some of the biggest names in the sport. Okay. Myles Garrett, Jalen Hurts, Will Anderson. I mean, she's got a ton of dudes who are either currently or coming up on contracts. I think a lot of these Milroe interviews, meetings, I think this is a I scratch your back, you scratch my back thing. I think if Nicole Lynn wasn't his agent, he wouldn't be getting half the pub he's getting.
Trying to get the attention, then someone reaches for him, which means more money. I could say, look, I see this in a similar vein as the Malik Willis hype. Remember the people talking about Malik Willis? Just, oh my God, he can run. He can. His arm though, and I saw Jalen Milroe get caught not once but twice in the Senior Bowl game. He didn't look that game fast to me. I know he could run in college, but I saw him get tackled by two guys who might not be in the NFL. I am zero impressed. I would not draft him on my team if I needed a quarterback at all. The only teams that should get him, and actually, funny enough, Baltimore and the Eagles might be a good spot if you can get him in the 5th round. Sure. You put Milroe in for a package. Why not? Have some fun. Develop.
No,
we know
stop.
Roseman likes. No, listen. We know Roseman likes collecting QBs. You're telling me Roseman wouldn't get him? You put him in a game at the end of the year. All of a sudden, look at what happened to Milton, Joe Milton, out of New England. Played in one game. Patriots recouped the draft pick. You tell me Roseman wouldn't want to do that? You put Milroe in, runs around, scoots about a little bit, and maybe you get a 3rd-round pick. Someone falls in love.
The guy who is going, there's two guys I am still shocked they're not getting more attention, and I think they might end up both being better than Milroe, Ewers, and Dart if he doesn't go to the right team.
Sure.
Dylan Gabriel and Brady Cook. I
love Brady Cook.
Shocked that those two guys are not being talked about more because Gabriel. And he's like, I got it on my sheet.
I love Brady Cook. I am 1,000% with you on Brady Cook.
Like you have two guys who could run pro style offenses. Like to me, that's it. You know, it's what can you do, not what could you do. You know what I mean? Right. And I feel like those are guys who are going to be like day 3 picks now, and someone's going to walk away with a starting quarterback like Washington did years ago with Kirk Cousins.
I'll say this about Gabriel, though. I think he is going to be a very good CFL quarterback, Canadian Football League. I think he's too small. I'll push back on the Gabriel side. I don't think NFL's for him. I think, again, I'm in Canada. The CFL, as soon as I saw him play, Josh, I'm like, that guy would be great for the Toronto Argonauts. You know? I think he's like that.
It's funny you said that because that's what I think about Will Rogers in this year's draft.
Well,
not Will Rogers, the actor. Will Rogers, the quarterback from Washington, who also was at Mississippi State at one point. Guys like him and Graham Mertz. Like I feel like those are guys who have zero chance at the NFL.
Yeah.
But the CFL, they could be great.
They could be great. But Gabriel, the thing why he fits in the CFL is because he's small, he's quick, and he can distribute, and it fits the game. But to your point, Quinn Ewers, to me, Quinn Ewers is Colt McCoy 2.0 straight away, with a less impressive collegiate career because Colt McCoy set a whole bunch of records.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Colt McCoy, 3rd-round pick for the Browns. I think Quinn Ewers, I'm not impressed with his arm. The big moments, I think he shrunk. Not impressed with him. Kyle McCord, too. Kyle McCord is, to me, game-wise, mentally weak. Cowards. Left Ohio State, went to Syracuse, put up big numbers. Who's watching Syracuse? Ohio State and Will Howard under the bright lights every single week. And the guy rose from the ashes after that Michigan game and balled out. I don't want Kyle McCord, Jalen Milroe, none of those guys. Because, do you know what I mean, though, with Jalen Milroe? When the criticism is you can't throw the ball. Like, am I taking crazy pills? Like, hello? You can't. You're not good at accurately throwing the football, which is your job. If I want a speed guy, I can rattle off 5 running backs I want. Like, that's what drives me bananas. I got nothing against the guy personally. I don't know him. But what bothers me is some team is going to reach, and I'm afraid it's my team, Josh, because they have Tommy Reese, who was his OC at Alabama. And if the Browns take Jalen Milroe at pick 33, I'm going to lose my mind. I think we should be doing a live draft show day 2 to start. And if Browns take Milroe,
Right.
you will see a meltdown.
Not day 1. You're saying day 2.
Day 2, you will see a meltdown live on the air on YouTube, and we'll clip it, and that'll be the end of it.
That'll be the end of you.
That could be the end of me. Maybe it'll be this. Maybe it'll be a new beginning. Overreaction, Andy. Who knows? Good Lord.
At AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform, Andy McNamara Sports on Instagram, and of course, host of the Sick Podcast. Andy, what you got guys going on the pod?
Man, it's all draft. We're talking all draft. We're talking Browns. We're doing draft simulators. We're doing all of it. We're talking to different experts. Great chat. Hey, if you missed last week's show with Eric Edom from NFL.com, phenomenal.
Excellent.
Shadur Sanders, really cool stuff. Really good breakdown of a whole bunch of quarterbacks and other positions. Check that out. It's on YouTube. The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. Subscribe for free, of course. And then on X at SickPodBrowns at AndyMC81.
Andy, great conversation. Appreciate you jumping on.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. See ya.
Josh Hennick here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. For those of you on the text board, I see your texts that have come in. Dan from Tuckerton, as well as Steven Ventnor. I'll get to you guys on the other side. But right now is your next opportunity to qualify for the Eagles draft party. You know that sounder. I need caller number 7. 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Caller number 7. You are in for this year's Eagles draft party, where you have a chance to win a pair of Eagles Club Box tickets, an overnight stay at Ocean Casino Resort, Ocean Casino Resort gift cards, and tickets to shows at Ovation Hall. But you must be a qualifier and then be present on Thursday, April 24th, when Mike Gill and the Sports Bash broadcast live from 2 to 6 at the Gallery inside Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Caller number 7. You're a qualifier for the Eagles draft party on 97.3 ESPN.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Jester's Dive Bar for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Matt Blatt Kia has 3 questions. Do you have a job? Want out of your current loan? Want to save before high tariff prices? Yes! Matt Blatt Kia. Get up to $5,000 more than fair market value for any trade. Plus 0 down, 0 payments until July.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, offers can't be combined. Tradeless miles and dealer recon. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer expires 5/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
It's time to find appliances that fit your needs and your style at the Home Depot. Shop Spring Black Friday savings and get up to 35% off select appliances like GE Profile, plus free delivery. From all-in-one washer-dryer combos that can wash and dry a full load in under 2 hours to feature-loaded refrigerators with built-in autofill water pitchers, GE Profile has appliances made to simplify your life and elevate your home. Shop Spring Black Friday savings on top brand appliances and get free delivery happening now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid April 3rd through April 23rd. U.S. only. See store online for details.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, and Student Loan Interest. See if you qualify at TurboTax.com/free.
Here in New Jersey, it's one wow after another after another after another. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Up and down the Garden State, you can be wowed by wondrous waterfalls. From the well-known Patterson Great Falls to Layton's Buttermilk Falls to hidden gems like the Lake Solitude Waterfall in Highbridge and Tinton Falls in Tinton Falls, New Jersey's waterfalls are a fantastic way to sightsee, connect with nature, and get some great photos. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
With Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Spring is here and summer's right around the corner. Is your home ready to handle the heat? Make sure it is with Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Right now, when you purchase a full HVAC system, Broadlee's will throw in a brand new hot water heater for free. That's an $1,800 value at no cost to you. But hurry, this limited time spring special won't last. Call Broadlee's today for your free estimate at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net to schedule online.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Before we get out of here, I wanted to hit the text board really quick. A couple texts came in that were very interesting to me at 609-403-0973. Dan from Tuckerton chimed in and says the Phillies did nothing to improve this offseason. Yes, they have depth mainly in the outfield, but they are average at best. I think calling them average at best, Dan, and Tuckerton is a little extreme. I feel like what you're basically doing is you're taking a team that actually does not have a ton of depth, and maybe you're amplifying their depth too much, and now you're downgrading what makes them great, which is they're top heavy. Harper, Turner, Schwarber are one of the best trios in baseball. Like, if the Dodgers have the best trio of hitters, and let's say with the Braves when they're healthy have the second best trio, I think it's fair to say the Phillies have arguably the third best, right? If you want to say the Padres are better, okay, maybe. I'm not even fully sure the Braves trio is better than the Phillies. So I think Dan Tuckerton, I think he got a little bit inverted there. They're very top heavy. They got three really, really, really good hitters. They have a couple of elite starting pitchers. But at the end of the day, they need more depth, actually. They need a higher floor for the players who are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the roster. All right, Steve from Benner, I want to squeeze in a couple things he said. He said Jackson Dart will probably go at the end of the first round. He's got the arm strength, and somebody I think will look at him like a Josh Allen. I think the thing with the Josh Allen comparison is fascinating. I think it's a conversation we get into another day, is because of the fact that, Dart, he does have those physical tools. To me, the biggest difference between him and Allen is when Allen was in college, Allen was all ability and no technique. He was a horrible, accurate quarterback who became much more accurate, worked on his craft. Dart is a guy who came into college as an elite talent and then regressed. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Catch you tomorrow.
Matt Blatt Kia has 3 questions. Do you have a job?
All right, a quick post-game show here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Thank you, everybody, for staying tuned on the YouTube side. I just wanted to follow up on the quarterback conversation really quick, because what fascinates me about this draft class is I think that the quarterback evaluation that we are observing right now is arguably one of the worst I have ever seen. Andy McNamara made an incredible point that I wanted to highlight here really quick. And that is the key to this draft has everything to do with one issue specifically. And that is this. The 2025 NFL draft will be a draft that comes down to what team is going to have an honest conversation about intangibles. And here's why I say that. We did not appreciate, when I mean football fans in general, did not appreciate that what made Jalen Hurts great was not the physical ability. It was the intangible. And you heard Andy McNamara brought up that, hey, if Shedeur Sanders goes to the right situation, if Jackson Dart goes to the right situation, if these guys go to the right situation, they have a chance to be amazing, incredible, impressive, whatever verbiage you want to use for it. But the problem is, I think a lot of these quarterbacks are going to fizzle. Because most of the teams with the best quarterback developers, evaluators, whisperers, whatever you want to call them, most of those coaches already have quarterbacks. Andy Reid doesn't need a quarterback. Kevin Stefanski, could he draft a quarterback? Maybe, but he's not one of the best quarterback guys. How about a guy who's really good with quarterbacks? Kevin O'Connell. Not drafting a quarterback. You know who's not as good at developing quarterbacks? Who could be in the market, the draft one? Well, how about the Dallas Cowboys? Their quarterback future is not exactly set in stone. Look at the teams that need quarterbacks. They don't have the people in place to develop those quarterbacks. The only team that has a person in place who could develop a quarterback maybe is Brian Daboll with the Giants. And they have not one but two veterans that they brought in. This entire draft class, when you look at it, these guys are going to be dependent on who drafts them, who develops them, and the environment and the organization they go to. That is going to be the ultimate difference maker. And I am honestly concerned with the future for some of these guys because I think Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Will Howard, I mentioned Dylan Gabriel earlier, Brady Cook, I think all of these guys could be very good NFL pros. And I think Milroe with some development and Kyle McCord with some development and maybe even Tyler Shuck with some development, they could be somebody. But the problem is that in the NFL, there are much fewer great quarterback developers than there are teams that can develop quarterbacks. Because for as great as Jim Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell are at developing quarterbacks, none of them are drafting one. So what's the point? What's the point for some of these guys if they go to a team that cannot develop them? We have no idea if Kellen Moore can develop a quarterback with the New Orleans Saints. We have no idea if Liam Cohen is going to do a good job with the Jacksonville Jaguars. These are brand new coaches. Shane Steichen, he has not been able to get anything out of Anthony Richardson consistently in Indianapolis. Ben Johnson looked really good with Jared Goff. I don't know if he's going to do well with Caleb Williams. And frankly, Sean Payton already got his quarterback. He doesn't need to develop a quarterback. But you know who might be in the market for a quarterback? Steelers. Who's developing the quarterback there? Arthur Smith? So I am concerned that some of these quarterbacks are going to go to bad situations and they're going to need to be rehabilitated later, like Sam Darnold was with the 49ers and Vikings, or like Baker Mayfield was with the Rams and Bucks. Some of these guys are going to desperately need some TLC by the time the team that drafts them is done with them, because they are going to be like a car needing to be completely refurbished. Sure, the engine in the car is great, but the seats are rotted, the windshield wipers are broken, the back windshield is cracked, and needs new tires and suspension. But aside from that, it's great. Like the scene from Fast and Furious where Brian brings Vin Diesel the car. I got your 10-second car. He's like, that's my car, and the car needs so much work. But it's got a great engine. It's got great potential. That's what's going to happen to some of these quarterbacks. Some of these quarterbacks, they're going to have so much potential, and people are going to be like, well, I guess they could be good. It's got to be. I just feel for these guys because these are not cars. These are human beings. These are human beings who are basically getting discarded, who are being looked at through the lens of, I want my popcorn in 5 minutes or not at all. I want my mac and cheese in a minute or less. Nobody wants to develop players anymore. They just want to plug him, play him, and they want their breakfast and lunch and dinner immediately because they don't want to actually have to cook a meal. As I said before, the Shedeur Sanders stuff, it drives me nuts because I think there's a lot of improper evaluation of him and Cam Ward. I don't even think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft class. I think he's just the quarterback with the least number of flaws that people could pick at. I think Shedeur Sanders could be a better quarterback than Cam Ward. Heck, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, they could be better quarterbacks than Cam Ward. But again, Cam Ward is the guy with the least amount of flaws. He's got the least amount of blemishes on the resume. He's the one who doesn't have the Carfax injury report, right? You know, you go get a used car, and you got the Carfax, and you're like, well, this car was in a car accident. Car still works great. Car, if you take care of it, you do what you need to, it can actually be better than it was before the accident. But the Carfax report, it's a deterrent. And the dealer is trying to sell you this car. They're like, look, I know it's got a car accident, but if you do good to it, you treat it right, it's going to last you 200,000 miles. It's going to get you everything you need out of it. But that black cloud over that car's head, it's looming. It's ominous. I think that's the problem with guys like Sanders and Dart and McCord and Howard and Gabriel. And even Brady Cook. They all have something in their background that bothers you. The multiple transfers. The weird offenses they played in. The injuries. The perception that maybe they're not big enough, they're not strong enough, they're not whatever enough. But at the end of the day, you know who's one of the enough players in the NFL? Justin Herbert. All the arm strength, the size, the skill set. He is an A-plus talent. Never got to a conference championship game. Has not been to a Super Bowl. Talent is not enough in sports. Because hard work beats talent every time talent doesn't work hard. Thanks for watching me on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I appreciate everybody who jumps in to the conversation, whether it's listening on 97.3 ESPN FM or right here on the YouTube channel. We will be back tomorrow with more Phillies football, and I have a special interview for you guys tomorrow with New Jersey's own Jim Miller, the all-time most wins in UFC history. He is back this weekend in action. We will have that interview tomorrow right here on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, as well as 97.3 ESPN FM. Have a great night, everybody. I'll catch you tomorrow.